What is up, guys? I am excited to bring to you today my very first draft of Ikoria. It's super exciting because it's also the very first time that they're going to be bringing player drafts to Magic Arena, and that's one reason I've been avoiding Arena for a while because the bots are not very skill intensive. So now we'll kind of be able to read signals and everything else, and it's going to be just fantastic, and I can't wait to do it. Ikoria looks like a really fun set. Looks like they've set us up for a lot of glory. There's so much going on, so many ways to play all kinds of colors, and you can cycle and play any kind of deck you want to play. So I'm really looking forward to it. Looks like there's 5 3-color wedges, and each of them have their own perspective of how they operate. And then there's the 10 different color pairs, and 5 of them are really well supported with different play styles, and the other 5 are based around keywords. So it looks like it's going to be a really fun set. So let's go ahead and just jump in. We'll use our free ticket entry. We got this cool bat. That thing's sweet. Claim prize. Oh, looks like we're already full, so we're going to jump right in. Just hit ready. All right, let's do this. It's going to be fun. All right, so we're going to be reading signals as we go. We're passing left to start with. It might take a little while to get through all the cards because they're sort of new to me. But let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I see is Unpredictable Cyclone. And it's a payoff for cycling. It has cycling itself, so if it's ever a dead card and you don't want to wait to cycle stuff to get free spells, then you just do it. So it's a very good, seems like a pretty good card. This kind, another a liger, it mutates and boosts your whole team. Swallow Hole's good removal. Returning your sorceries when you cycle them or other things seems pretty good if you mutate. Conditional removal spell, not on that. This is kind of a 2-for-1. It's flash, so you can sneak in and block. So you remove something, it's got high power, so it's going to kill something in combat. And it also neg 2, so it can kill 2 things at once. Pacifism's always good. That's really good 4-drop, Trample or Menace 4-3. Okay, so good fixing. I kind of want to see if the cycling deck's for real. So we're going to do a little nonsense to start off with. Pacifism's probably the better pick. It's just straight removal or like Drakus or something. But let's go ahead and take the Cyclone and do some fun stuff. That being said, Mambo's good if we want to mutate, remove stuff. This is just does what Black-Green wants to do. It cares about the graveyard, as a lot of them do. You know, to get stuff out of the graveyard, it ramps. That's good. The shards are good. It's good cycling, so it could go with the Cyclone. Not in for that. That's okay for humans. This is good if it's going to die. You know, if you got a human in that, 1 mana for divination is stupid good. This is good for mutation decks. Random spell. Cool. This kind of helps us mana fix if we wanted to, but we're not on a 5-color deck. You know, everyone has to have one of those Act of Treasons. This is a payoff for cycling. And it cycles for 1, so that's kind of what we're in for. We want a bunch of cycling 1s. As you can see, we got the timer on the bottom, so I'm trying to move through these quickly. But this is a payoff for being cycling, so I think we want it, and any 1 mana cycling we're in for. So let's do it. Let's take the cycling card. Swallow Whole, like I said, is a good removal. This is like a reanimate spell, gives the lifelink. That's pretty cool. In the right deck. Cycling 1. I'm in for cycling 1. We'll go ahead and snap that card up if it's what we want. This is another cycling one. It's in blue. So we got to decide whether blue or white wants to be our second color, or we could just take either and it's only cycling 1. If we're only ever cycling it, it doesn't have to stay in our color. Mole's good for that deck. Blazing Volley's kind of a sideboard card. This is just straight like removal. That's pretty good. Good for a graveyard deck. I feel like that's solid removal. Yeah, so we have to decide which one we want to be. And I think, yeah, I mean, they're both kind of payoffs for being cycling. I think I'm more going to be gearing towards blue because if we cycle a bunch of cards, we could also be in the Spells Matters deck, so we get those spells in the graveyard. So I think blue's more what we want because we cycle a bunch of spells in the graveyard and then we can kind of use them for other cards. So I think we'll take that. Vigilance. That guy's pretty good. When it mutates, you gain 4. Yeah, he's alright. Crystal in 2 of our colors, so we could cycle it away or use it. Another 1 mana cycler. I think I might want that more than the Crystal. Not in for that. That's a decent card, but not for a deck. Plummet. This could be good if we're actually casting our spells, but if we're so worried about cycling, we won't be casting them that much. So we're not going to really grow him that quickly. This is a reprint. Cycling 2. Okay, we got mana fixing as well. So I think I'm on one of these two. And this could be good mana fixing in case we want to get green, but we don't so far. And I don't think we really need mana fixing. I think we want to play as much little lands as possible with all the cycling. So we'll take another cycling 1. Cycling 1. I mean, that's what we're looking for. We got good mana fixing. It's not really a spell we'll ever cast for what we want, so we'd probably take a cycling 1 over it. Meh. Not looking for pump spells. This is good for the mutate deck. I mean, kind of hasting a 3/4 flyer on a body and drawing a card seems great. And if you ever get to like combo off and put more people on it, you're just kind of going off. I feel like that's probably a good card. I feel like, yes, cycling 1's great, and that's what we want to be doing. But I feel like the backup of having a win condition with your cycling is kind of one thing we want to look at right now. So I think we want to be mono red cycling so far from what we have. But the other ones can be as colorless cycling as we want. We kind of not on the second color yet. Or I would take maybe this fixing. Jeskai is definitely the color for cycling. That's cool for the Vigilance green-white deck. That's just kind of a modal spell that we won't have interest in. 3/1, no. Convolute, we're not in for a counter spell. That's cycling 1, so we are interested in that. This is good fixing for Jeskai cycling. But this is a great payoff for being in the cycling deck. Being able to swing as a 4/3 first striker a lot of times easily and always threaten it, and we have pretty much everything as cycling so far, so he's always going to be able to do that. The rest of us is cycling 1, so we'd be willing to take that. Yeah, so it's between this, and I think I want the payoff more than the cycling because we're going to get a bunch of these. So we'll take the Prickling Marmoset. Another Vigilance card. So the green-white deck kind of is open, but as we can see, we're not closed off from the cycling deck. We're kind of putting our foot right into it. When you cycle a card, tap a creature. So that's okay. It's more defensive than I want it to be. I kind of want to be more aggressive with our cycling deck, but we could use it. Not in for that. Not in for that. I think we're definitely in the Jeskai colors, even though it seems green is open. But none of these green cards say, hey, take me, to me. So I guess we'll take this white card as is the payoff for being cycling. But I don't know if we're going to play it. Yes. So here's a huge payoff for being a cycling, and we're getting rewarded for being this deck. This is going to be a cycling helix pretty much. And as you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cycling already. So it can already deal 6 and gain 6 to anywhere. So we want to go off with all our cycling cards with this card and kind of just get there. And there's not really anything else for us. This card looked like it would just be meh, but if you pick it and you have like Divining Arrow, like deal 4, you can swing and then deal 4 to it, and then it could be like a 5/7 flyer. So I think it's better than what it normally would be. We won't have much creature, so I'm not in for Swallow Whole, as you need a creature. I am in for a pacifism. The fact that it came around means that white seems to be wide open. The turtle, not in for. I mean, I am in for more cycling, but I think I'm going to take the just good removal. That card's great too. I don't see why that came around. And Reunion also could be good, as we can just ditch some cycling and draw a bunch of cards. And again, we're kind of in a Spells Matters parts of colors as well, so we might be able to get some of those. This is 2 of our colors, and it cycles, so I'm in for that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. We're not in for the ground creatures attacking that way. We're in for the cycling and try to get a couple more payoffs and get some more ways to win the game. Dead Weight, that's super late. Blazing Volley is kind of a good sideboard, but there's no sideboards in this. Draw a card. I'm a fan of that. dealing 3 damage. We could use removal at this point. Dead weight, it just doesn't fit our colors, and I don't see us splashing it. So I'll take a Sleeper Dark. It'll draw us a card. We can use it sometimes. That cycles. If we ever think we're going to cast spells, I think Ceratops will be better for us, and I think we'll get other random 2-mana cyclers. So we don't have to take it here. So I'll take the Ceratops in case we need to play it, but right now we don't. We don't need a second Ceratops, and a 1-mana cycler we can get others, because I think I just want to take this. I think our fixing needs to be best. So, Ambush, 1-mana cycler, we're in for that. And we'll take that and put it in the sideboard. And we'll move the fixing in the sideboard as well. So let's go ahead and move some things around. That's a 2-mana cycler, that's a 2-mana cycler, it's a 1-mana cycler, 1-mana cycler, 1-mana cycler, 1-mana cycler. So that's kind of what the curve looks like. So we got a low curve and probably a low mana deck. This Phoenix seems really good. It might not be great in our deck, but it still might be worth picking. Mutate, that's cool, but it's not in our deck. Sphere Dragon would be cool, but we're not casting spells. Yeah, not a lot of this will fit our deck. I think Capture Sphere is a good removal, but I think I'm still on this. Divine Arrow could be a good removal as well, but I still think I'm more on the Phoenix than that. And it looks like a couple cycling cards that we could use on the wheel. So I'll take the rare. I think it's a good way to win the game, but I think we still want to pick up some more reasons to be cycling. So that's a cycling, but it costs too much for us to be more interested in it, even though it does cool things for cycling. Man, that's a good blue card. That's a good mutate card. You mutate, you bounce a spell. But again, we're not in for it. We're in 2 of these colors, so that could be good. Healers, 1-mana cycler. I'm cool with that, 1 mana. If one of these come back, or we take it here, I'd be happy with that. That's a good mutate card. This one, if you get the right stuff, can be stupid good. I'm thinking I'm going to take this because they have this enchantment that's a 3-drop that every time you cycle becomes a 5/4 trampler with haste. So at any time we cycle, we can bring that up and randomly hit them for 5. And then later on in the game, if we're not cycling these away, we can use it to give it double strike, and that's just 10 out of nowhere that they can't deal with. That's really good mutate card. So green was definitely open. Footing, 1-mana cycler. This is removal, so we might have to take it. Of one mind. I like drawing cards. That could be worthwhile too. And this is good fixing. So we could be on getting more fixing, although none of these blue cards we really have to cast, and they just cycle for colorless. I think I'm on one of these. I would like to take another cycling, but I think just the per raw removal is probably what I should take, and hope that more of these wheel. Okay. Cycling 2, but not in our colors. We'll never want to cast it. Not interested for any of that. Mystery's Egg, we're not mutating. Ceratops, no. I think we're going to take Reunion, kind of as a cheap way to just churn through our deck a little bit more and draw 3 cards and, things like that. We're never going to be down too many cards, hopefully. So discarding 2 shouldn't be a real cost because cycling always replaces itself. I'll gladly play that. Escape Protocol. Now this is kind of a cycling payoff, but we don't have many things that we want to flicker, so it really isn't paying us off for anything. Divine Arrow is a good removal. I think we might take it if we don't see anything else. This is good for mana fixing. That might be worth it. Reminds me of a card in Dominaria that used to do the same thing. Skittering something. It's really good in that set. Cycling 1. I mean, I could take that. Just go in for that. I'm going to take the removal one more time, but after this, I think we need to really prioritize the cycling 1. There we go. That's exactly what I was talking about with this double strike card. Give it double strike or cycling 2. Whenever you cycle a card, you become the 5/4 with trample and haste. So this is a big payoff for being in this deck. It's a random 5/4 big beater that just keeps getting in. And you can do it at instant speed, so it comes alive at any time. That's really what we wanted. Draw, discard a card would be good. Cycling 1. Cycling 2 is like a modal spell, so you can deal destroy an artifact, deal 4, or just draw a card. Now we'd want this on the wheel if we can get it, any of these 3. But we're taking this in a heartbeat and never looking back. Okay, 19 cards. We got a good playable so far. Zenith Flare. Oh my gosh, we got another one. So we're really rewarded for being in this deck. This is really where we want to be. We're in cycling. We got 3 or 4 payoffs for it. So if this deck is good, then we should have a good chance at it here. I would take, that's good for the humans deck. I'd probably take this serpent or this. Probably take this if I was choosing otherwise. Cycling 1, I'm in for that. At this point, we just want all the cheap cyclers we can. Actually, we want one more payoff. I think one more payoff for this deck with a Marmoset. And then after this, we just take all the 1-mana cyclers we can get and play like 15 lands and just get there. I think this is what we want to do. I think this way we get the Marmoset. We have 2 Marmosets, the Reflection, 2 Zenith Flares, and all the things we can possibly do with it all. We got plenty of ways to win the game now. Bait Vanish, Capture Fear, we could be good, but we don't have good fixing. I think we're going to be white and red instead. So we'll take this, so another win condition that cycles early. Just a good card. Cycle 1, I'm in. Cycle 1 that we can actually cast over the cycle 1 that we're not going to cast. This came back, love to see it. Another cycle 1. Alright, let's do it. Cycle 2. Ugh. We'll take the cycle 2, but we'll probably not end up playing it. We probably won't need it. Escape Protocol. We'll take it. It's a cycling payoff, but I probably won't play it. Cycle 1, I'm in. Okay, so let's start. This will probably be cycling 2 most of the time. I'm probably not getting there on that. Zenith Flare. I don't know what it picked. Let's go ahead and put that in the sideboard. Healer. These are cycling 1s. 2 mana cards. That's cycling 2. Probably don't need to play that. Cycling 2, cycling 2, cycling 2. Probably don't need to play that. Probably don't need to play that. Okay, cool. Let's look at the pack. That's a really cool card. Lifelink, it's big body, mutates, but we're not going to be mutating. This cycle's 1's cycling payoff. I'm good with that. Inner colors. Got to quickly roll through these. Cycling 1. Yeah, so I'm taking the 1-drop that cycles that can get huge in our deck. Definitely seems good. This tapper would also be okay. Oh, that's good. I might take that just because it's a mythic and I might want to use it later. We'll click it, but we'll look at the rest. Human, payoff. That's a cool card. No. I like that. Gosh. Better deck, better card for later. I think the right pick is this, but I think our deck is set up for good things already, to where I might not need this, and I'm going to take the mythic for later. But this, let us all know, is the right pick. But there might be a chance to play a human deck later in Brawl. Oh, if I ever get 5 Mambas, not because they're that good, it's just going to be funny, because Mamba number 5 will be hilarious to say. None of these really fit what I'm doing. Essence Scatter could be okay. Yeah, so none of these really fit what I want to do. So what would I choose to possibly put in my deck? Yeah, I don't really want any of these. I'll take Essence Scatter and put it in the sideboard. Vigilance, don't care. Thundermane, yes. Dude, we got all the payoffs now. This card, whenever you cycle, you can pay 2, and it basically mini lightning helixes them. That's amazing. And with all of our cheap 1-mana cyclers, it should just pretty well go off. Cycling 2, I'll take that on the wheel. I'd gladly take another marmoset as well. Yep, let's take this. Let's be happy about it. Oh, I thought that was another one. Got me excited. That's a really good 4-drop for blue. Divine Arrow would be okay. Drawing cards. Lava Serpent. Oof. I think I just take another cycling too. At this point, we just continue to maximize our cycling. Yep. I wish our fixing was a little better, but beggars can't be choosers. Again, we don't have too many to use for that. Cycling 1, definitely. Okay, cycling 1. Here we go. Got a lot of playables. Swallow Whole, not enough creatures to make that work, although I think it's great. Nope. Nope. Okay, mana fixing I did complain about, but I'm going to take the unconditional removal pretty much. This gets better as the game goes on. I can probably discard it at some point with Cathartic Reunion or something. Cycling 2. Pacifism's better, which I might take Pacifism and drop some of this high-end stuff because I don't plan on playing a lot of land. Draw a card. Cycling 2. I got enough cycling. I think I'm going to take Pacifism so I can drop off some of the top end. Okay. It may seem crazy I'm playing a black card in this deck, but it's not going to be really black in the deck. It's cycling for 1 colorless mana, which is ridiculously good for what our deck's doing. So we won't play any black in the deck, but this is just going to be a colorless way to fulfill Zenith's Flare and stuff like that. Spontaneous Flight, Dolphin, no. Blazing Ball. If I had sideboard, I'd put a card like that in the deck. All that said, I'm going to take mana fixing and be 100% happy with it. No. Nope. Like I said before, I'm not going to play the Ceratops because I'm not casting the spells most of the time. So we'll put it in the sideboard. Okay. That's a late Bone Splinters card, and it shouldn't be that late. I think it's going to be really good. I'm going to take the cycling too. Also, the squirrel seems good. So white was pretty well open this draft, it seems. And meh. Take the cycling too. And we'll take another one of these Cycling Matters cards. So I think we found a lane early, and I think we were sort of lucky enough to keep going in the lane and it be open. And we really got there on the payoffs for it. So the deck should be good. If cycling is going to be good in this format, this is the type of deck that should just smash. If it's going to be good, this is the deck that it will be good in. Okay, so let's put everything according to their cycling cost. Like this, I'm not going to play a 2-mana 2/2 most of the time. Cycling 1, this one I might play as a 2/2 because it's another one that just goes ping, 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 ping every time you cycle her. And so is this one, so I'll leave it at those are 2, and these are just 2-drops. This I'll never cast for blue because I'm not putting blue in the deck. This mana base is absolutely not what we're doing. So I'll just get rid of all of it. So let's continue sorting. These are all 2-drops. I might play this, I might not. Okay, cycling 2, cycling 2. Marmoset stays there. This is cycling 1. I don't think we can afford to get rid of any of them that say cycling 1. Cycling 2. And this one, as much of a payoff it is for cycling, like the stuff that I'm going to be casting that have similar, let's read it together. If cycling an ability of another non-land would cause you to draw a card, instead exile cards from the top of the library to exile that shares a card type with a cycled card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put the exile cards in a random order on the bottom. So let's say we hit this. We cycle this, and it mills the deck until I hit the next instant. So what would one of those be? This, if it was this, then it would be great. But if it was, say, this, then most of the time it's going to be null and void. So this card isn't necessarily great in this deck unless you're, throwing down a creature to find a creature. And still, sometimes it could be a little poopy because it could just go get one of these. So this is not going to be cast as 5 pretty much ever in this deck. But I will keep it because it's a cycling payoff and I want it. But this is what really the mana curve is going to look like. Now I'm cutting cards, obviously, but as you can see, the curve is so low. So many 2-drops and 1-drops that I can use my mana for. So we're going to play a lower than normal land amount. We're going to play 15 lands in this deck. And usually you're supposed to play 17 and 16 for a aggro deck. But for a cycling deck where you're cycling all your cards, you're able to keep the 1 mana hands and stuff like that because you cycle so much for 1 mana and stuff, to where you're churning through your deck where you can play a less land count. So that's what we're going to do. And seeing as we have Divine Arrow and 2 Pacifisms and Zenith Flare, I can get away with cutting at least 1 Rock Slide out of this deck. It's possible I don't even want to play the Phoenix. I know that sounds crazy, but it's possible that that's probably not part of the deck. I might even cut the second Rock Slide just to keep it at 15 lands so I can churn through my deck as quick as possible. Because I want to hit the cards like this. And I want to hit the cards like this that can just take over the game by going crazy with my deck. All that being said, I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm not mutating anything with this. It's not going to. So it's a 4 mana 4/4 flying for 4. Which will win games. Don't get me wrong. But I think it might be right to cut it. Let's look at the rest of the deck. I will sometimes play this turn 1 and just let it go off and be like a 6/6 for 1. This will always be cycled. Yep. So you can't cut any of the cycle 1s for what we're doing. That's also cycle 1. Iron Arrow. I think I'm going to cut the Reunion. I think Raking Claws with like Marmoset could be really good. And Reflection. So we might be able to look at some of the off colors like Cycle 2, cards that we may never cast, and maybe cut some of those. Yeah. So I think like this off color black card that we'll never end up casting, we can get rid of. With the lower mana count, I'm probably, even though this is 2 of our colors, never casting this crystal to ramp out. So I'm okay with cutting that. This is a win condition if we hit, just hit our massive lands. So I'm probably keeping that. So let's see what this says we're at. 11 creatures, that's fine. 3 auras, but it doesn't tell us how many, and this average is obviously wrong. But it doesn't say cycling, so that doesn't help me. Let's count cycling together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, plus 3 is 16. So 16 cycling. So I kind of want to condense the deck a little bit more to take some of the non-cycling out because I want it to be as high as possible. These can just go right to the face, and when they do that, they gain you a life, they buy you time, but they can just end the game in a couple shots. Maybe 1 shot if you get good attacks on. So I'm thinking that we still cut the removal, and I'm also thinking that this Phoenix just needs to go. And I don't see myself normally doing that in any other deck but this. Because I want to keep those 16 cycling together. I want to keep that as high as possible for what I want to keep this as a concise game plan as possible. If we can keep it as consistent as possible, we'll be in a better place. Like there's cards like this that, if we had maybe 1 or 2 more cycling, I'd just cut because we're never going to use that. The actual spell. Like we'll use this as an actual spell, maybe sometimes, probably not. But this as something sometimes. Raking Claws absolutely will cast. Those definitely. Maybe. Never. Maybe. Yeah. So, I think I'm going to cut the Phoenix. I really do. I think it's the right call. I think it also helps my game plan to play 15 lands. I could maybe play the Phoenix and get away with 14, but that's pretty greedy. And I think I'm going to throw 1 of these blue lands in, just in case I want to cast this. in case I want to make my marmoset a 4/4 and then start going off. I mean, that's definitely possible. I might as well include it. It doesn't really hurt me much. Yep, and an Evolving Wilds. I think 16 land for that's really good. So let's look at our mana. We want 1 white and 1 red. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least 6 red mana sources. I'm not going to count the rest of them because they're all cycling, so that doesn't matter. So our mana should be pretty good. 1 white, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so if we just pretty much go down the middle for both of these, we'll be in a good spot. So we're at 17. Is there one we want more? Probably red more than white. We can wait on these for white a little bit longer than red. So 13, so 6 plains. Oop, that's one too many. Actually, let's do 7 because we got a red here. And then mountain. Okay, so we got 7, 7 land-wise. 8 if you count that. This is the deck. I hope it plays good. I know it's like nothing we've drafted any time in the recent formats. So we'll see if cycling can get there. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Hope you stick around for the matches. This is the end of the draft. Hope you guys learned something. I hope I learned something. See you for the matches, guys.